Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back in as we get ready to rumble here from the beautiful Charlotte Roval. As you take a look at the 23 ride, just getting done his qualifying effort, here comes that 16 ride of Matthew Wood. As all these drivers, they are ready to rumble. They are ready to duke it out here for what is going to be a pretty exciting night of racing action. The road course here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, man, this is a fun track. It's very, very exciting. It's on the edge of your seat. There's a lot of areas that you can run into problems, a lot of areas where you can find that extra gear, that extra bit of speed, and try to use it to your advantage out there on the speedway. As the Roval always bringing that extra bit of fun, especially when it comes to playoff racing, as we do see Matthew Wood currently with the quick time here. He's looking to try to lay down an even quicker lap time here on lap number 2. He's going to get a little bit sideways right there, and I believe that will cancel out his run as he was trying to put down a very, very quick lap time after already having the pole position. Brandon Eddington out there on the speedway. He's looking for a solid run, looking for a good drive there in that beautiful number 12 ride as the Advanced Auto Parts run gets rolling down through corner 3 and 4 on the oval track. We'll head down into this little chicane area here. He's going to get through corner number 1 there nicely and out of the final corner and back down across the line. We'll see where that slides him into, is right now into 7th. And Sure Hauler, sure coming in, showing the love, says, let's have fun tonight. She says, yes, man, let's have some fun. Let's have a good time here this evening. Well, says, Charlotte track is amazing. Yes, it is an amazing, amazing racetrack. A lot of fun, and we're going to see some great action here this evening. Here comes that 9 ride, the Napa Auto Parts machine of Benjamin Romano. Romano going to jump up into 4th here in the qualifying effort. As of right now, it's Matthew Wood with the quick time. Xavier Rugglebruggy in position number 2. So Xavier rolls there in the 2nd spot with Evan Stewart, Benjamin Romano, and Wyatt Mickelson rounding out our top 5 here in qualifying. Caden Gargiulo, Ryan Hauler, Brandon Eddington, and Jason Bogart now rounding out our top 9. As a lot of drivers here at road courses will elect not to qualify. They may feel a little bit better starting a little deeper in the field, trying to just keep themselves out of the chaos, out of the mayhem early on that can ensue here at a, it's not much of a short track, but it kind of runs for the first couple corners like a short track. When you head down into corner 1, down through corner number 2 and 3, it's very, very tight. You can definitely get ran over or put yourself into a tough position in a quick hurry. The 12 right of Brandon Eddington's going to go around. That will nullify his 2nd qualifying lap, and that means that the 12 right currently qualified in position number 8. Now, qualifying going to come to a close here in just a few more moments, as drivers will get an opportunity to kind of get a bit of a breather if they wanted to try to get out and get a lap started. I think that time has come and gone, so they can no longer jump out there. They can't really start a lap quick enough to try to put themselves into a qualifying effort. As Hardy Designs, what's good? Hardy Designs says, come on, Rugglebruggy, as Rugglebruggy looking for a big run here in this one. Antoinette also coming in, showing the love, says, let's go X, have some fun, let's go, cheering on Xavier. Xavier looks good again here in this one, man. Zay right now is sitting 2nd here in qualifying, put down a pretty good lap time here, and not too far off Matthew Wood, I think, for the most part, though. Most of these drivers, a lot of these drivers are going to be chasing down that 16 right of Matthew Wood. Seems to be kind of the class of the field, not only when it comes to every racetrack we go to, but especially when it comes to the road courses. It seems like he's got the knack for these road courses, really hooked up that 16 ride, and he's been laying down some, great laps. He's looked very strong, and here in qualifying, starting in that pole position, could be another night for him just to open up a big lead and try to run away with tonight's feature event again and extend his points lead even more here in the series. So his points lead could go even farther here after tonight's feature event, as we will get a quick look here at our points here in just a second. Let me get these updated for us as we'll get all these drivers out onto the racetrack. They'll get ready to go to battle in just a quick moment or two. All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. All right, there we go. There is our point standings coming into the Roval here this evening. So Matthew Wood with a pretty sizable gap here, about 114 13 points separating him and Evan Stewart. Zach Clater back in third, about 128 back. Zach Perry, he's about 131 points back of our points leader. Nick Biddy about 140 points back. Wyatt Mickelson, Applegate, Ryan Haller there in 8th. Jason Bogart back in 9th, and then you see Aiden Lucas, Keegan Huey, and unfortunately Jordan Fisher back there in position number 12 here of our points standings. As these points, have looked quite a lot like this. I mean, Matthew Wood, it's hard to catch him. It's hard to gain points on him when he just continues to keep on fighting victory lane here in the series, and he's going to be looking to do it again here tonight. If he can find another way into victory lane, earn some big stage points, potentially this 16 ride of Matthew Wood could go into next week with a very, very big points lead, even bigger than what he's already got, and maybe enough points to lead that for the final couple races of the series. He may not even have to show up. He may be able to be crowned as our champion, weeks before that season finale. As Matthew Wood will start from the pole here this evening, it will be the number, I do believe it is the 5 ride there to his outside. It's tough to get an angle at these guys down on pit road, but I do believe it is going to be the 5 machine. Yes, there it is. It is Xavier Rugglebrugge who will start in position number 2 here this evening. Starting back in the 3rd position will be the 37 ride, the AB Racing machine. That is Mr. Evan Stewart. Stewart will start in position number 3 here this evening. The Napa Auto Parts number 9 ride, Benjamin Romano will start there in position number 4. Starting back in the 5th position in the 51 ride, that is the HendrickCars.com machine of Wyatt Mickelson. To his outside will be the Team Watson Setups number 7 machine of Caden Gargiulo, rounding out our top 6. Starting back in position number 7 in the number 23, that is the Columbia ride, of Ryan Haller. Haller will start there in 7th. To his outside will be the 12 ride, the Advanced Auto Parts machine of Brandon Eddington. Starting back in position number 9 in the number 17, that is Jason Bogart. Bogart will start in the 9th spot. To his outside in the NASCAR 25, number 42 machine, that is Nick Jensen. Starting in position number 11 in the 76 is the Busch Light 1776 Motorsports ride. That is Zach Perry. To his outside will be the Sim Racing Center number 74 of Jaden Porter. Starting back in the 13th position is that Tracker Boats number 3E of Ethan Greek is Zach Clater. Keegan Huey will both start from down on pit road, and Jeff Hurrick also not yet out there on the racetrack as well, back in the 16th position. So for a lot of these drivers, the points and everything else going to play a major factor here in this one. But if you take a look at some of the drivers that are in these points, when you look back there at Clater starting back on pit road, Perry starting back there deeper in the field, I don't believe we saw Nick Biddy out there on the racetrack, so Biddy's going to slide backwards. No Applegate, he's going to slide farther backwards here as well. And again, no Aiden Lucas, no Jordan Fisher out there on the racetrack. So the points are going to look, even better potentially for that 16 of Matthew Wood after tonight's race. The driver that's going to be hunting him down second in points right behind him, that is that 37 right at Evan Stewart. We'll see if Evan can try to find some extra points here this evening. Obviously, we'll see drivers like Wyatt Mickelson, Ryan Haller hoping to try to earn some really big points here this evening, as well as Jason Bogart. We look farther back at Zach Perry back there as well. They'll be looking to try to earn some big playoff points here this evening. It's down through the first set of chicanes before the start finish line here. We will see that green flag fly is down and out of the final corner. Here we go. Door to doors. The green flag is in the air. Xavier Rugglebrugge trying to put the pressure early on into the 16 right of Matthew Wood. Great crossover right there. Able to work down to his inside as Xavier Rugglebrugge takes the race lead away from Matthew Wood. Now, can Rugglebrugge keep him back there at bay, or can Matthew Wood close that gap reel him in and try to take this race lead back away. Now, the thing is going to be probably fuel, potentially tires here in this race, but I think fuel is going to play a major factor here throughout this race, and just try to minimize mistakes as there's a mistake out of Zeg. Pushes wide in corner number 6, I do believe. Gets up into the outside fence, gives him a bad angle into this corner, getting back onto the racing surface here in corner number 1, and unfortunately for the 5 ride, will slide back into position number 2. So that'll move Matthew Wood back out in front for Xavier Rungle-Brunke. He's going to have to try to find himself another way to get back around this 16 ride of Matthew Wood, but if there's anyone out there that may have a shot at it, it is going to be that 5 ride here this evening. As we take a look deeper in the field at drivers that have been running into issues, we saw Ryan Haller also run into a problem here. So Haller in the number 23 ride, he may get tied up with some issues here off the racetrack right there. Going to get loose, spins it around. It looks like the 17 ride's going to follow him right into that. So unfortunately for a pair of our playoff drivers, Ryan Haller and Mr. Jason Bogart both go around, both run into issues here on the opening lap, and then we see, unfortunately, Zach Perry potentially running into some problems here as well. Now, he was able to get around those guys nice and easily, and I think the contact that he may have seen may have just been from the back bumper, as you see the 39 ride right there, trying to try to work his way up towards the front of the field. Same with the 38, so Keegan Huey and Zach Clater hoping to try to gain some spots here after having to start down on pit road. Now we do see Haller again off the racing surface. Haller running into some more issues. Looks like maybe a toe link broken in this 23 ride, and this is going to be a heartbreaker for Ryan Haller. Looks like a broken rear toe link in the 23. You're going to see this car crab walk in here on the racetrack. I do believe that right rear is busted up. You see it pointed in the wrong direction, and unfortunately that may take him down pit road trying to get this car repaired. Ethan Greek also going to run into some problems here. Ethan gets done lap number 1 nice and easy, then sends it into corner number 1 here, trying to keep himself pointed the right direction. Just kind of gets on the throttle a little bit too soon, rolls it, and unfortunately goes around, gets stopped there on the racetrack. Luckily enough, able to get it rolling again as Zach Perry able to just get by him right there. But out in front, the battle continues as Matthew Wood trying to hold off Xavier Rungle-Brunke. Rungle-Brunke looks like he's really good down here in corner 1 and 2. As now we see a mistake out of the 16 ride of Matthew Wood as he scrapes that corner 2 fence, and it allows the 5 ride of Xavier Rungle-Brunke to jump back out in front. So Xavier back to the point. Matthew Wood falls back into position number 2 as Evan Stewart rolls right there in position number 3. Benjamin Romano back there in position number 4 with Wyatt Mickelson rounding out our top 5. Caden Gargiulo there in 6. Nick Jensen back in 7th. Keegan Huey, Zach Glater, and Brandon Eddington rounding out our top 10. Jaden Porter there in 11th with Ryan Haller and Jason Bogart battling here, and it looks like Bogart's going to go around, so a tough break there for Bogart. There goes Ethan Greek and Zach Perry around him as he'll have to try to get this thing pointed back in the right direction. Let's take a look and see what happens. I don't think he had any help. Just looks like he tries to Tokyo drift it down here through corner number 3 and 4. Rear end steps out. He's trying to save it. Unfortunately, as he does, car goes back around the other way in the turning point USA. Definitely not the turning direction that he was hoping for right there. So that will set him a little farther back out there on the racetrack. But nonetheless, we keep on battling as the 5 ride of Xavier Rungle-Brunke out in front, able to take the race lead away from Matthew Wood. And for Xavier, he's been laying down some very, very good lap times here for that number 5 ride. So Xavier, unfortunately here, didn't get the best qualifying lap. It looked like Matthew Wood was going to have this one in the bag, but it looks like Xavier has found another gear here in this qualifying effort, or not in the qualifying effort, but out there on the racetrack. And he's worked this 5 ride to the point and starting to open up a little bit of a lead here between himself and Matthew Wood. Now, I'm not sure if this is just Wood playing with his food a little bit, trying to take it easy, trying to use the 5 ride, hoping that he burns his equipment up. But if he builds a big enough lead, it may not leave Matthew Wood enough time to try to jump up here and win another stage, as I know that's what's in the back of the mind here for that 16 ride. Now, good enough for him to come home in second, even in this stage. That would still be a bonus of an extra point here between himself and our third-place driver, Evan Stewart. Stewart sits second in these point standings, and for that 37 ride, unfortunately, he is back about 2 seconds and a bit behind the 16 of Matthew Wood. So we'll have to wait and see if Matthew stays there or if he can make another pass, maybe gain another point here between himself and Evan Stewart for the championship here this year. Is out in front. Xavier continues to lead the way. He's got that lead, and he is not looking to slow down anytime soon. Hoping to try to keep all these drivers back there behind him and back at bay here this evening. Is Matthew Wood in tow? Evan Stewart sits there in third. So for all these drivers talking about the points and talking about the stages here, we will have a stage break at lap number 10, but it is going to be stage points only. There will be no caution flag for the first stage here this evening. So there will be no there'll be bonus points, there'll be playoff points to be handed out to these drivers, but we will not throw a caution flag for the stage end. So drivers will have to battle, compete back to the line, and unfortunately for some of these other drivers, that's going to be really, really tough for them. And that may put potentially, a bunch of these drivers a lap down here in this first stage. So trying to keep yourself on the lead lap, trying to keep yourself out of trouble, and obviously keep that car pointed in the right direction is going to be the key to success here this evening. Now, stage number 2 will end at lap number 25. The completion of our 25th lap will be the end of stage number 2, and we will have a caution flag there, a full course yellow flag there at the completion of lap number 25 here this evening. So that could bring a lot of drivers that are a lap down or potentially very, very close to going a lap down, could get them right back with the race leaders, could get everyone kind of into the same game plan, and that will set us up for our final, I believe, 30 lap run to the end here this evening, as we're already 5 laps in, and it's still Xavier Ruggle Bruggy out in front, leading the way here as Xavier Zay sits out in front, but right there behind him, closing that gap again, is that 16 of Matthew Wood. It looked like for a little bit that maybe Zay was going to be able to get around him, and we do hear somebody clobber a fence here. It looks like Brandon Eddington gonna get into a wall right here, down into corner number 1. We heard that from the corner number 7 coming out of the infield portion. You can see how they kind of meet right there, and unfortunately for the 12 ride, gets in there too far, can't get it checked up, smashes into that fence. Big contact there for him, and unfortunately that may take him down pit road for an extended period of time. If we take another look at it, you'll see our race leaders almost at the same time. They're going to be coming down and out of the infield here as this number 12 ride is going to clobber this fence. That's where we heard it, so I do believe you may get a good look at it. You may see them right there just ever so slightly. You see those guys heading into the corner 1 part of the oval here. They are leaving the infield portion. Unfortunately for our race leaders, they're able to keep on rolling. Unfortunately for the 12 ride, not so lucky. Hard contact there. That may be a game over right there for the 12 ride. That is really going to set him back throughout this race. We did see other drivers run into issues. 17 right again for Jason Bogart. Looks like he may run into a problem here. We'll take a look and see as this is heading down into that corner. That kind of meets with the corner 1 right there. Doesn't really look like anything major, so he's able to keep it rolling. Nick Jensen potentially running into problems here. Let's take a look at Jensen as he's heading down into the front straightaway. Chicane gets loose, gets onto the binder. His car goes around it, unfortunately, down through the infield right there. Misses that corner, so he does have to do a bit of a stop, but he's just trying to get this thing once again pointed back in the right direction. And unfortunately, it takes a little bit here to finally get that thing pointed back in the right way and rolling again on the racetrack. Loses a couple spots. And unfortunately for Nick Jensen, now parked back in about the 11th position on the speedway. Ryan Haller right there in front of him, back inside the top 10 here, as we did see Keegan Huey up and into 7th. Zach Later now into 8th as well. So a pair of drivers that had to start from pit road have worked their way up inside the top 10 here, just outside the top 5. We'll have to wait and see if they can find some extra gear, see if they can try to work their way up towards the front. Is out in front. It is still a show being put on by these two. Xavier with the race lead. Matthew Wood right there with them in position number 2. Now they have about a 10-second gap between themselves and our Third place driver Evan Stewart. Here's Evan way back here, just far enough away that is no pressure here to our front two. They can even go for a loop-de-loop. They can run into problems. You see him just in the background there. That is a big gap as you see Matthew Wood still kind of trying to work his way around this 5 right of Zay. Zay trying to keep himself out in front, trying to steal not only a extra point here away from Matthew Wood, but it's also an extra point that could help Matthew lock in the championship here on our inaugural season with the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League. So there's still a big gap. You see him coming down the back straightaway. That is Evan Stewart. So they're already headed down into corner number 3 for Stewart. He's just heading into that back straightaway chicane. He'll leave that chicane, and the gap is going to be quite a bit as they're already down and out of corner number 4, working through that next chicane out there on the front straightaway, and Matthew's just staying glued to the back bumper of this number 5 ride. Unfortunately, it looks like Zach Perry has gone a lap down here as well. So Zach Perry already a lap down. Brandon Eddington back up there on the racetrack. He's also scored 1 lap down. Jason Bogart also a lap down, back in the 15th position here in last place out there on the racetrack. Tough break here for a couple of those 1776 Motorsports rides here this evening. Ethan Greek, the next driver to potentially go a lap down here just in the running order, sits back in that 12th position. Now he does have a bit of a gap, not much of a gap though, between himself and our race leaders as they are fairly close to him. One simple mistake, one slip up could put them right back to his rear bumper. Now Nick Jensen and the 23 of Ryan Haller a little farther forward here, but being only 8 laps into this race, not a fun spot to be here. These guys are still over a minute behind our race leaders here. Over a minute back. Even when you look at Zach Later, Jaden Porter, these guys are a minute behind our race leaders here on the speedway after their 8 laps of racing action. So we're 8 laps in for those guys. It's 9 laps in here in just a little bit for Zay and Matthew Wood as they will complete stage number 1 the next time by the start finish line. Matthew Wood continues to keep looking underneath them, keep on trying to find a way to jump up back into the race lead as Matthew rolls there in position number 2. Now he does have a bit of a yellow flag here. I'm not sure if that's a hold flag. It does look like he's able to get checked up. Flag goes away. He's able to keep on battling as Zay right there in front of him. This is the battle here for the race lead and for the stage win here this evening. Stage number 1 going to come to a close here in a quick hurry as Xavier Ruggle-Brugge trying to keep himself as the stage 1 winner here this evening. Is Playford Sheets. What's good, Playford? Playford Sheets coming in with the like on the stream. Brad Hunt also coming in with that thumbs up here on the broadcast. Here goes Zay, pushes up the racetrack right there. That allows Matthew Wood to jump in front of him as the Dominator ride jumps back out in front. Could try to stay here, may want to keep himself at the point, knowing that there's an extra playoff point on the line. If he can lead this lap and win stage number 1, could help him stretch out his points lead. As here we go, a shot from the 5 ride. Xavier Ruggle-Brugge trying to make a mistake, hoping that he can work himself around this 16 ride and put himself as the stage 1 winner as they battle. They duke it out here back down through corner number 3 and 4 here on the oval. Now they tend to roll back down here into this little chicane. Matthew's able to hit it nicely. Exits corner number 12, I do believe, on the racetrack, and that is our stage 1 winner. So Matthew Wood able to pick up the win here in stage number 1. Is what's good, Caleb? Mr. Ramsey says, I can barely go left. Yeah, that's exactly my sentiments here when it comes to the road courses. I know a lot of drivers are in that same boat, man. It's tough enough just to go left. When you start to throw in right-hand turns as well, makes it that much tougher. Actually, it's not even turning the left or the right. It's more or less, for me, the shifting that always got me with road course racing. It's knowing what gear to be in, knowing where to start a braking zone or anything else. That's kind of the stuff that really mess with me, is you just don't see a lot of corners coming. And I suppose the more and more you run races, the more and more you run laps at a certain road course, you will learn that track, you'll learn the braking zones, you'll learn the gear that you want to be in on corner exits and everything else. So I guess it's kind of what they would use, but for myself, definitely not as fun as we do see Ethan Greek ends up getting into the fence. Bless me, a couple sneezes right there. So Ethan Greek does end up finding the outside fence here in that 3E ride. Already has quite a bit of damage on this car. Let's take a look back at it, see what happens. So right here, just going to get in there too deep. Can't get this car checked up. Goes across the banking and right into the safer barrier there. And you can see that heavy left front damage here on that number 3E machine. And unfortunately for Ethan Greek, he's going to have to take that car down pit side and hope to get a quick repair done to it. Trying to get that car fixed back up and rolling here on the racetrack. He's still trying to just get this thing down pit side. He's trying to hit pit road. He should be able to get down pit side, this time out of core number 4. So he'll head down, meet his crew, hope to get this car worked on and back into good racing condition as Matthew Wood, Xavier Rungle-Brugge round out our top 2. Evan Stewart back there in 3rd for that stage. Benjamin Romano, Wyatt Mickelson round out the top 5 there in stage number 1 with Keegan Huey, Caden Gargiulo, Jaden Porter, Nick Jensen, and Zach Clater rounding out our top 10 there in stage number 1. So stage number 1 comes to a close here this evening. Now we get into the action here a little bit more as we start to see more and more of these drivers seeing our race leaders in their rear view mirror as the next driver to potentially go a lap down, I do believe, is this number 23 of Ryan Haller. Haller just heading down into the tri-oval, or into the chicane here on the front straightaway. You see our race leaders right there behind him as Matthew Wood heads down pit side. Xavier Rungle-Brugge stays out there for an additional lap. So Zay heads down and keeps on rolling here, keeps on laying down some good laps, and he's hoping to maybe try to put some more of these drivers a lap down before we get our first stage break of the day. Is Zach Clater not too far in front of him. Nick Jensen right there as well. Jaden Porter a little further forward here, but for Zay and Matthew Wood, if they could potentially jump up here and maybe put, a couple more of these drivers a lap down out there on the racetrack, could definitely make it easier for them in that final stages. Here we go. We do see Wyatt Mickelson. He'll head down pit road. He's making his first pit stop of the day here on lap number 12 as Matthew Wood also down and out of the pits here, and this is how big of a lead that they were able to have. So Matthew Wood comes down pit road, able to complete his pit stop, only falls back into about the 4th position. So Evan Stewart, Benjamin Romano able to get in front of him for the 16 run of Matthew Wood. He's right there in position number 4, and once again looking for more. These are the big gaps that these drivers have been able to build up and have been able to use to their advantage here, and we should see soon enough Zay come down pit road. Benjamin Romano, Evan Stewart, a lot of these other drivers should start to come down pit side as we do see the 9 ride going for a wild ride right here. Oh, baby, what in the world happened here? Take a look back at it as the 9 of Benjamin Romano sends it down into the back straightaway chicane. I don't know if he just misses it or what happens, but oh, yeah, just missed the corner. Gets in there too far. Gets up onto the banking right there. Goes around. Hopefully not too much damage there for that 9 ride. But he does all of a sudden fall back into about position number 3 on the speedways. Evan Stewart also having an issue here. I do believe for Evan Stewart, he has disappeared off the racetrack. Evan Stewart is no longer out there. We do see Xavier Rungle-Brugge. Zay's down pit road. He's making his pit stop. Now, here's the big difference on these pit stops is I do believe Matthew Wood going to roll around him here. So Matthew Wood now jumps out in front. So Matthew Wood with the race lead once again. Zay back there quite a ways, just getting out of the pits here in that number 5 ride. He's quite a bit far behind Matthew Wood now. It's about a 12-second gap, so I'm not sure if Matthew took 2 tires only or if he took, just fuel only. Nonetheless, for the 16 ride, able to open up a huge advantage between himself and Xavier Rungle-Brugge here in this second stage of the race. And unfortunately, yeah, we still see Evan Stewart not out there on the racetrack, so I do believe if we take a look here, Evan Stewart, connection dropped due to download packet loss. So unfortunately for the number 37 ride, having a great run, having a great performance, was rolling in about position number 3 here for a lot of this race, but now all of a sudden that connection loss, the packet loss right there, drops him out of this race, and it's put him multiple laps down here. As we take a look at him, he's trying to roll back out onto the racetrack. He's going to roll out there. We'll see where he kind of gets lined lined up. Here comes our race leader, Matthew Wood, right there with him. And actually looks like he's able to get in quick enough that I'm not sure if he even lost a lap right there or not. It's showing him that he's still on the lead lap, but he should go a lap down right here as Matthew Wood gets around him. So that's a tough break there for Evan Stewart nonetheless. After running in third for so long here this evening, now back in position number 8 and a lap down. Not a fun place to be. Benjamin Romano also down pit side. He's making his green flag pit stop and now trying to roll back out onto the racetrack. Here comes Caden Gargiulo also down pit road. So Gargiulo will make his pit stop here this evening. As we'll take a look here, Matthew Wood with the race lead. Xavier Ruggle-Brugge back there in position number 2, about 12 seconds behind him. Benjamin Romano now back out on the racetrack. He's about 20 seconds behind Zay and about 33 seconds behind our race leader. Wyatt Mickelson rolls in position number 4. He's 13 seconds back of the 9 ride and about 12 and a half seconds back behind him, even with damage on this 38 ride, is Keegan Huey. Zach Later rolls in position number 6 is Caden Gargiulo still down pit road, just getting this thing into gear, just starting to roll on the front straightaway. We'll have to wait and see where he comes out compared to this number 37 of Evan Stewart. Stewart rolling right here. He's trying to keep himself in the lucky dog position. We'll see where these two come out, and it looks like the 7 ride of Caden Gargiulo will keep himself in front of Evan Stewart. And as of right now, still in front of Matthew Wood, but he's going to have to try to stay there for the next 10 laps to try not to go a lap down, or in hopes to see that maybe if he does lose a lap, then maybe he can gain the lucky dog, the free pass back on a lead lap. As right now there's only 4 drivers that are currently not over a second behind our race leader. So Wyatt Mickelson, Benjamin Romano, and Xavier Ruggle-Brugge all within 1 second here of Matthew Wood. Unfortunately for Keegan Huey, he is now over a second back, or a minute back here, not a second, a minute back of our race leader. That is absolutely crazy. That catches me off guard. Saying a minute here. Normally we never see big leads like this. We'll see maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds or something like that, but nothing like this. A absolutely amazing run so far for Matthew Wood. Obviously, Xavier, a little bit of a slower pit stop. He has been slowly but surely reeling in that 16 ride of Matthew Wood, but I feel like for Matthew Wood, he knows that he just has no pressure, no skin in the game to make a mistake, as we see the 7 ride unfortunately make a mistake here. So for the 7 machine, does lose a lap there to Matthew Wood, and for Caden Gargiulo trying to keep himself in the lucky dog position down into our chicane here, just gets a little loose, gets those wheels locked up, goes for a slide down into the infield, and unfortunately for the 7 machine, will fall back into position number 8 and lose that 7th position as Evan Stewart able to hang on to it, and that leaves Evan Stewart in the lucky dog position, still in the free pass spot out there on the racetrack, as Matthew Wood out in front though continues to lead this race, and now he's reeling in a couple of these drivers a little bit more here as Zach Later, next driver in line to potentially go a lap down. If Zach Later does go a lap down, that will leave only 5 drivers on the lead lap here this evening, which is absolutely insane, as we do see Nick Jensen back in 9th, Jaden Porter there in 10th, Ryan Haller back in the 11th position, with Brandon Eddington there in 12th, Jason Bogart back in 13th, Ethan Greek rolling there in 14th, and unfortunately for Zach Perry, Perry's been down pit road since lap number 7. So obviously Perry not a huge fan here of the Roval, or of the road courses here in the series, and for the Busch Light number 76 ride, the 1776 Motorsports machine parked down pit road and virtually out of this race. There's no possible way for him to get that many laps or that many wave arounds or anything else to get back on the lead lap, as Matthew Wood still sports about a 12-second lead here. 12 seconds the gap between himself and Xavier Ruggle-Brugge, and he is reeling in some more lap traffic here in front of him, trying to catch up to them in a quick hurry, wanting to put more cars a lap down here this evening. Is out in front. It's going to be tight for a lot of these drivers, as I do believe Zach Later also is yet to come down pit road. Now, he's ran quite a bit longer than everybody else here. He's ran 16 laps. We saw pretty much everyone else come down pit road around lap number 14, lap 13, lap 12 here, up throughout our top 10. But for this 39 ride, he still has to make his way down pit side. He still has to make a pit stop after now going a lap down. It's going to be that much tougher for him, and here comes the potential lucky dog winner, that 37 right at Evan Stewart. As Stewart's just trying to hang pace here with Matthew Wood, trying to make sure he makes quick work of anyone else that Matthew puts a lap down, as he's not done yet. We still got a lot of laps left to go here before we see our first caution flag, or potentially our only caution flag here in this race at the completion of lap number 25. As Keegan Huey about a 1 minute and 6, almost 7 seconds behind our race leader. For Wyatt Mickelson, he's 50 seconds back. Benjamin Romano, he's about 40 seconds back here. Xavier Ruggles-Brungy, he's only back about now 12 seconds here. It's actually Matthews gained a little bit of time there on Xavier, as we do see some issues out there on the racetrack. Jaden Porter going to run into a problem. Let's take a look here at Porter as going to send it into one of our final corners here on the infield. I'm not sure if he just runs into a problem, what may have been the issue, but maybe just getting checked up enough there to get stopped. Looks like Haller potentially having an issue here as well. Let's take a look here and see what happens to the Columbia ride as the 23 down and into the back straightaway chicane here. Not sure if he's just going to make a mistake. Yeah, looks like it gets tight, washes it up to the racetrack right there. Luckily enough, able to get that thing locked down. Does not make any contact with that outside fence. That could have been a whole lot worse in a quick hurry, but he keeps on rolling there in the 11th position. And we did see Ethan Greek. Ethan also running into more problems. Let's take a look here at the 3 ride as Ethan Greek back down into corner number 1. We saw him have some other issues out there on the racetrack, heavy damage, and here we go. We're going to see him go around again. Go for that slide, get turned around. Unfortunately, I have to throw it in reverse, try to get that thing pointed back in the right direction. I do believe Brandon Eddington also going to run into some problems here. Let's take a look at the 12 ride. Just hopping, skipping, jumping around some of these corners here. Everyone just trying to keep these cars underneath of them, trying to keep them pointed the right direction. There goes Zay right on by him, our second place driver. You see the 12 ride right there. Just virtually having to get stopped there on the racetrack to keep that thing pointed the right direction as he got back under the throttle. Lost the rear end. Good jump, saving it though, keeping it rolling as Matthew Wood keeps on rolling here at the front of the field. He has already put down pretty much everybody a lap down except for our top 5. Keegan Huey, even with the damage on the 38 machine, trying to keep himself on the lead lap, but he does know that our race leader only about 10 seconds or so behind him. He sees him down at a corner number 2 right there, reeling in behind him and trying to close that gap and potentially putting Keegan Huey a lap down here this evening as well. Wyatt Mickelson doing a great job here in the HendrickCars.com number 51. Still in the lead lap, rolling there in that 4th position. He's actually been slowly closing the gap here on this 9 ride of Benjamin Romano. Romano hoping that he can keep this car clean, keep it up here, keep on battling, try to come home with a solid top 3 run here this evening as Matthew Wood down across the line will complete lap number 20. So 20 laps are completed here this evening. 20 laps are done. We still got a lot of laps left to go there. Still a lot of time for drivers to make mistakes, run into problems, have an issue out there on the speedway as we'll get our first caution flag of the day at the completion of lap number 25 as Matthew Wood continues to click off these laps and continues to build this race lead. Now, if you're Xavier Ruggles-Brungy, maybe you try to take it a little bit easier. You probably know you're not going to catch him here before the end of the stage. You're probably not going to go a lap down, so maybe just take it easy on your equipment, trying to make sure you don't make a mistake, get contact, or anything that can set you back here for the second half of this feature event as Xavier rolls there in position number 2. Benjamin Romano back quite a bit farther, back in position number 3. Currently sits about 43 seconds behind our race leader. Wyatt Mickelson about 55 seconds behind our race leader. And for Keegan Huey, he's back in position number 5. And for Huey right now, he is currently about a minute and 15 seconds behind Matthew Wood. Matthew is reeling him in. He is closing the gap, is catching up to this number 38 ride. And if he can catch him and put him a lap down, that would leave only 4 cars left on the lead lap as our second stage would come to an end here this evening as Wood out in front. Just looking pretty here this evening. Just hooked up nicely, knowing that he's going to have himself another good day, another good run here in this one as Internet blows is Evan Stewart. Oh, that's a tough one, Evan. That's a tough one. Hardy Design says, come on, X. Come on, Xavier. Cheering on Zay here this evening. Zay's looked good. He's looked strong. Looked like maybe he'd be the only driver to potentially give Matthew Wood here tonight a run for his money. We'll have to wait and see if that will be the same case scenario in the second half of this race. Maybe right now Zay just knows pit stop did not go his way. He lost a bit of time there to the 16. Can't catch him, but will get the caution flag and will get lined up again to his outside for another restart here in just a little bit. And for Matthew Wood, it's more points into his back pocket. If he can keep this car pointing the right direction, not make any mistakes, win this stage, and some more points into his back pocket here this evening, especially with Romano and Rungelbrugge, both not playoff drivers, back behind him in second and third. Our next playoff competitors would be Wyatt Mickelson in fourth, Keegan Huey back there in fifth, Evan Stewart in sixth, and that's a big gap between first and sixth out there on the racetrack. And for Evan Stewart, potentially going to lose a lot of points there to the car that he is chasing for this championship. Let's see if we can pull up our championship points here once again. There we go. There is our points as of right now. So for Matthew Wood, came into this race 114 points up. If he can try to pick up another stage win, especially earn a lot of extra points between himself and Evan Stewart, could virtually go into the second half of this race with a 120-point lead or so between himself and that second-place driver in our points championship. Zach Later a little farther back behind him. Zach Perry already down and out of this race. Nick Biddy not in the race. Wyatt Mickelson having a good run. Currently sits in that sixth place in the point standings. He could jump up quite a few spots here. He may be even able to jump up into position number 5, maybe even position number 4 or 3 here for that championship. So if Mickelson can just kind of finish strong here, have a good run, have a great performance, could be a good day points-wise there for that 51 machine. Obviously, there's a couple of our other drivers out there on the racetrack that are still in our championship battle here. When you look back at Clater rolls there in 7th. You look back at Ryan Haller, he sits in the 11th position. Jason Bogart there in position number 12. Unfortunately for Zach Perry, heavy damage on this 76 ride is and has had him parked down pit road here for virtually the last, I don't even know, 20 laps or so. 16 laps, something like that, 16 laps. He came down pit road on lap number 7, has now rolled back out there on the racetrack as Matthew Wood only has a couple more laps left to go here in this stage, and right now he's got about a 17-second lead between himself and this number 5 ride of Xavier Rungelbrugge as Zay slides back here, and unfortunately, quite a ways away from the back bumper of that number 16 of Matthew Wood. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we go back to green flag racing for the final stage of the day. Benjamin Romano there in third with Wyatt Mickelson rounding out our top 4. Keegan Huey there in that 5th position. He's hoping to keep himself on the lead lap, but our race leader continues to reel him in as there you go. There is the gap right there. 38 ride sees Matthew Wood now into his rear view mirror. If Matthew can get around him, put him a lap down, that would move Keegan Huey into the lucky dog position, which would give him a lap back, would get him back on the lead lap here for the second half of this race. But unfortunately for the 38 machine, he wants to keep himself on the lead lap. He wants to be kind of nice here, obviously, try to earn himself a better starting spot when it comes to the start of our final stage, but also would love to probably try to give Evan Stewart maybe that extra chance to bounce back here this evening. Evan sits in that lucky dog position as of right now, but if we see the 16 rider Matthew Wood work his way around this 38 before the end of this next lap, then we could potentially see, unfortunately, the lucky dog going to our 5th place driver, Keegan Huey, here this evening as Huey in line, just trying to keep his car pointing in the right direction, trying not to make a mistake for the 16 rider Matthew Wood. I'm not sure if that's going to be an option. I thought for maybe a minute or two, maybe he'd slow down and just leave that 38 ride on the lead lap, but now we see Keegan Huey run into an issue, gets in there a little too far, washes up the racetrack. We saw the same thing happen virtually in the exact same area to the 3 ride of Ethan Greek earlier. Luckily enough, not as heavy damage to that 38 ride, but it does allow Matthew Wood to get around him, so we only have 4 4 cars left on the lead lap right now. 4 cars left on the lead lap, left to duke it out here in this one. Is Anna, what's good, Anna? Anna coming in, showing the love, says, what's up, PeaceMaker? Says, way to go, Matthew, cheering on Matthew Wood here this evening. As out in front, Matthew Wood looking good. Here he is. He's going to pull over. So this is a great veteran move. He's going to pull over. He's going to allow Keegan Huey, even his one of the other drivers that's chasing him down here for the points lead here in this championship, Evan Stewart, to get around him here. Evan Stewart's going to move around Matthew Wood, stay on the lead lap as Matthew Wood does win stage number 2 here this evening. One stage 1, win stage 2, allows Evan Stewart and Keegan Huey back on the lead lap. If Zach Claytor can hang on to it, which I'm sure he can with the caution flag out, Zach Claytor will come home in 7th here in the stage, but he is in the lucky dog position. The free pass spot out there on the speedway could put himself back on the lead lap here in this one. As Matthew Wood has the race lead, though, we're waiting for Xavier Arango Brunke, our second place driver. They're in stage number 1 and 2. Come home and get to the back bumper here of the 16 ride. There's Benjamin Romano a little farther back. He will complete stage number 2 in the 3rd position. Now we'll wait for the 51, Wyatt Mickelson. Mickelson trying to come home here in position number 4 here for the points. So down and through the final tri-oval there, or not tri-oval, the chicane, and it is the 51 of Wyatt Mickelson who finishes off the stage there in 4th. Keegan Huey, he's still got that damage on that car, but for Keegan Huey, he will come home in position number 5 here in stage number 1 here this evening. So great runs here for a bunch of these guys. Stage number 2 coming to a close. Obviously, we saw lots of ups and downs, a lot of issues for some drivers, and a lot of damage, a lot of carnage out there, and for a bunch of these casters trying to keep themselves pointing the right direction, but they're all going to be still hunting down this number 16 of Matthew Wood. As Matthew has the race lead, he'll get ready to rumble. He'll get ready to go back to green flag racing in just a few more moments, as we're going to get a quick break in here, a quick drink, and then we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing here with our final stage of the day, which should be probably about another 25 lap run to the end by the time we see the green flag come back out here this evening. So don't go anywhere, because you guys do not want to miss the action here this evening.
Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave, dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay crazy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave, dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave, dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave, dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. PeaceMaker's mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.
Alrighty, as we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing as Matthew Wood continues to have this race lead. Looks like he will choose the outside lane here for the restart as Xavier Ruggle-Bruggy down to his inside. The 9 rider Benjamin Romano rolls in position number 3 with Wyatt Mickelson there in 4th. Evan Stewart in the 38 of Keegan Huey bring up row number 3 back there in 5th and 6th. Hayden Gargiulo, I do believe, is going to be back in position number 7 in the 7 ride. And Nick Jensen back on a lead lap as well. So it looks like these two are going to get the wave around back on the lead lap here this evening, sitting there in 7th and 8th on the speedway. Jaden Porter back in 9th. He is the first car 1 lap down. Ryan Haller back there in 10th. He is the second car 1 lap down. Zach Glader in position number 11. Also a lap down here this evening for Jason Bogart, Ethan Greek, Brandon Eddington, who's down pit road, and Zach Perry down pit side. There are multiple laps down here this evening. As we'll get them all ready to rumble, ready to go back the green flag here this evening. It is the number 16 of Matthew Wood, who has the race lead, looking to try to keep his good drive going here this evening. Had a big lead there before that caution flag to break up our race here, as the yellow flag coming out at the end of stage number 2. Wood was able to win stage 1 and stage number 2. Now looking to try to put himself back up into victory lane here with the always amazing wheel-to-wheel racing league. As here we go, back to battle as the 16 of Matthew Wood able to get a good launch, a good run, clears that number 5 ride of Xavier Rogalbrugge. Now Rogalbrugge going to try to stick right there with him, as look out, slideways goes the 16. Matthew Wood around a little bit of contact there as Evan Stewart gets a piece from the 16 ride. Gonna have to get back onto his horse here quickly and try to recover from that one as he falls all the way back into the 6th position. And now, unfortunately, about 5.8 seconds back of our race leader. The 5 ride of Xavier Rogalbrugge will take over the race lead. So Xavier now to the point. Benjamin Romano in second, and the 51 of Wyatt Mickelson into position number 3. We'll have to wait and see if Matthew Wood can keep that car alive, keep on driving, see if he can gain that gap back, and see if he can hunt down this 5 ride of Xavier Rogalbrugge for the checkered flag here this evening. As we did see Ryan Haller also go off the racetrack here as he watched the 23 ride, just gets up a little too high, gets up off the track, able to lock things down. Luckily enough, able to keep it rolling without any major contact there. We did see Jason Bogart also run into some problems here as that's in 76, that Turning Point USA ride, just going to get loose here down through the bumps, and I do believe going to get the track right here, and as he just come to such a slow stop, it calls it as a caution, but a wreck there, or a crash. Luckily enough, no major contact or issues there for the 17 ride, able to keep it rolling back in the 12th position. As out in front, Xavier Rogalbrugge has the race lead. Benjamin Romano in second, Mickelson there in third, Evan Stewart back up into position number 4, but does have a little bit of contact and damage there to the front end of that 37 ride. Keegan Huey rolls there in position number 5 with Matthew Wood back in 6. Matthew is looking to try to reel these guys back in, looking to see if he can make some moves. Now he's a car with a mission here, hoping that he can salvage this race and still end up with either the race win or maybe just a good solid point stay where he can extend his points lead and his chances of trying to win this championship. Getting around a few of these drivers right in front of him, including Keegan Huey and that 37 ride of Evan Stewart. To see Huey just moves up out of the way, knows Matthew's got more speed than him, gives him that spot. So Matthew Wood back up into 5th. For Evan Stewart, he's battling, he's chasing this 16 ride of Matthew Wood down for the championship. He wants to see Matthew have a bad run. He needs Matthew to have a bad run. So doesn't everyone else that's still in our playoffs here this year. As you do see Benjamin Romano. Romano now makes a mistake. Oh, brother, look out. Here we go. Benjamin Romano. This is the second time we've seen this here today. I do believe down into the back straightaway chicane. Just going to get in there too far. Unfortunately locks things up and just gets sideways here down through that chicane. Luckily enough, this time avoids any major contact with that outside fence. Able to get a stop, turn, rolling back in the right direction, but does lose a couple positions out there on the racetrack and now falls back into position number 6 on the racetrack. Matthew Wood back up into 4th here. He's reeling in that 37 of Mr. Evan Stewart, but luckily enough for Xavier Rogalbrugge with the clean air in front of him. No cars to deal with, no mayhem back there around him. He just got nice, good, clean air, and he looks to try to set sail here, hoping that he can try to pull farther and farther away from Matthew Wood, keeping that 16 ride back there in his rear view mirror for the rest of this race. And last time around, he laid down not only his quickest lap of this race, but the quickest lap of this race. The fastest lap anyone has laid down was this 5 ride of Xavier Runkelbrunke the last time around the racetrack. So now, with the clean air, the race lead, no pressure to his back bumper, the 5 ride is just hitting on all cylinders and looking to continue to just pull away and hope that he can put himself up and into victory lane. As now we do see Evan Stewart. Stewart runs into some problems. Let's take a look back, see what happens. So Evan Stewart with damage already on the front nose of this 37 ride, gets down into the back straightaway chicane, able to make the first one look easy, the second one as well, but it just kind of gets this car into a bit of a hop right there. Starts to go around, has to lock it down, comes to a stop there. Luckily enough, no major damage there on the car, but he does lose a spot to Matthew Wood and to the 38 ride at Keegan Huey, and it moves Evan Stewart back into position number 5 on the speedway. So now for Matthew Wood, he's only got about 1 car left to go here to get back to the point as he makes the move around the 51 of Wyatt Mickelson. So Mickelson will now slide back into 3rd here, so the 51 will get right in line, see if he can maybe learn something from this 16 machine of Matthew Wood, kind of see his lines, where he's running, how he's rolling these corners, and where maybe he can find some extra speed out there on the racetrack for himself, as now Matthew Wood has got a goal in mind, as last time around he laid down the quickest lap of this race. So Xavier Runkelbrunke was able to lay down the quick time back there on lap number 31, but on lap 32, Matthew Wood backs it up here with a quick time of his own, beating it by almost 0.4 of a second, and he is closing that gap on Xavier Runkelbrunke here in a quick hurry. He is tracking him down, he's hunting him down, trying to work his way to the point here this evening, as he's looking to try to race his way up to the front and trying to pick up another big win here today, man. This could be exciting. This could be fun to see who can track who down, who's going to be able to make the moves and make the runs to be able to try to find their way back to the point here, as Xavier Runkelbrunke had about that 6.5 second gap. It is now down to about 5.2 seconds between himself and Matthew Wood, and the closer that he sees this number 16 ride getting, the more and more pressure that may build for the young man out in front here, and that pressure may lead to simple mistakes, but those simple mistakes can lead into problems in slower lap times that could allow Matthew Wood to close the gap even more. As B-Rad Racer says, go 9 car, cheered on the 9 ride here this evening, as he says that. Unfortunate breaks there for Benjamin Romano, as Antoinette says number 5, clapping for the number 5 right here, as Xavier still out in front leading the way, as Anna says, go get him, Matthew, go Matthew, you got this, she says, cheering on Mr. Wood, hoping that Matthew can hunt down Xavier Runkelbrunke here this evening and trying to take this win away from the number 5 ride. It's nice and easy down the back, well, corner number 3 and 4 here on the Oval Speedway into the front straightaway chicane. 5 ride sends it in there deep, and it's too far for the 5 ride. Sent it in there way too deep, and a big mistake for that 5 machine. He's going to have to get slowed down a little bit there, and now we see issues for Matthew Wood back behind him. Looks like Wood got a piece of the outside fence right there. So even though the 5 ride ran into a mistake, so doesn't this 16 ride of Matthew Wood. He sees that there's an issue for the 5 ride, maybe pushed it a little too far, and unfortunately down here through the front straightaway chicane's going to get a little bent out of shape here in this one. Up and over that first corner a little too much, and the second one can't quite time it right. And look at this thing, up all 4 tires right there. Ends up bouncing it up off the outside fence there as well. Hopefully not too much damage for that 16 ride as he look to continue to keep on trying to hunt down our race leader, but now looking a little bit more worse for wear here in this one. As Sleepy J says, you can do it. Run it, he says. Run it, Xavier. Oh, he's running it. He is running it here. He is trying to make sure that he doesn't make any more mistakes like he just made down the front straightaway, and trying to keep this 16 ride of Matthew Wood back there at bay. Now for Matthew, the big advantage is that they got a lot of laps left to go here. Even though the gap is back to about 6 seconds, they've still got a lot of time here. A lot of areas where you can make mistakes. There's pit stops. There's a lot of things that can go right. There's also a lot of things that can go wrong. As Xavier Runkelbrunke down and across the start finish line will complete lap number 35. So 35 25 laps completed, 20 laps left to go, and we do see Matthew Wood head down pit side. So Matthew Wood heads down pit road. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to give him the number that he's good on fuel, that he won't have to make another pit stop here this evening, but I believe for the 16 ride, that damage going to be a little too much. So he's going to come down pit road, probably going to use that quick repair, get this car fixed up, and roll back out onto the racetrack here after getting some service, getting some fuel. Here he comes back out onto the speedway. So for Matthew Wood, he will look to once again have to try to make some big passes and try to close that gap here on Xavier Ruggles-Brugge. Now, he may be able to do it down pit road. He may be able to do it on the racetrack. We'll have to wait and see where Matthew Wood can find enough speed to try to chase down Xavier Ruggles-Brugge. As Matthew comes back out onto the racetrack, the gap is about 26 seconds here between Xavier and Matthew Wood here on the speedway. Wyatt Mickelson sits back in position number 2 now. Unfortunately for Wyatt, he is about 12 seconds back of our race leader. You see Xavier just heading down into corner number 3 is the 51, just coming out of corner number 2 here on the oval surface, as Benjamin Romano a little farther back there with Wyatt Mickelson, Keegan Huey back there in 4th, and I do believe we saw Evan Stewart run into more issues, and Evans back in position number 8. Is Jason Bogart going to run into some more problems? Looks like Bogart, I do believe right down through here, tends to run into some issues. I don't know if it's just getting the car too checked up, trying to make this hard left-hand turn, but we have seen multiple times that he comes in here and just looks like he gets bent to the shape. This time does get a little sideways. Has to get stopped there on the racetrack. Does get a little contact there with Zach Clater. Clater does get a little bit of damage, but for Bogart, he does lose the spot there as Clater able to get around him and steal position number 11 away from that 17 ride. Now, we do see Nick Jensen also coming down pit road. Jensen was one of our lead lap drivers here this evening. Now heads down pit side, looking for some fuel and tires into this 42 machine and hoping for a good break here this evening with, maybe, just a good run, solid performance, and seeing more of our drivers out in front of him run into issues as Xavier Ruggles-Brugge continues to lead this race. 13 seconds between him and our second place driver, Wyatt Mickelson. But now we take a look at the gap that Matthew Wood has been able to close. So Matthew Wood, after coming out of the pits, was back about 26 seconds. The gap is now about 23.6 seconds here between himself and Xavier. So he has gained roughly about 2.5 seconds here on that 5 ride. And if he's good on fuel, if he can make it to the end without having to make another pit stop here for Matthew Wood, that still leaves Xavier to make a green flag pit stop, which could definitely make things very, very interesting. As Bridget says, go Xavier! Cheered on Xavier here this evening as Zay out in front, continuing to lead the way as the number 5 ride. Has the point, has a 14-second gap now between himself and Wyatt Mickelson. Mickelson just sitting pretty here in second, just trying not to make any mistakes, not trying to run into any big issues, just trying to keep this car pointing the right direction. We do see Benjamin Romano has been reeling him in. Romano has been running some pretty good lap times and has been closing the gap here on Wyatt Mickelson quite a bit. So Wyatt, I don't know if he's just trying to play some strategy here or what he's doing, but nonetheless, it is allowing Romano and Keegan Huey to hunt them down in a quick hurry as Matthew Wood down across the infield here and going to make his way back into corner number 1 here on the oval racetrack. The gap is now about 22.2 seconds between himself and Xavier, so he continues to find speed, continues to find gaps here, and he is finding his way back into contention here in this race, especially if this one goes through and we see some different pit cycles, as Sleepy J says he's got the pace and he knows it. Come on, bro. Come on. He definitely has the pace here, but it may all come down to this pit stop as here he comes, Xavier Ruggles-Brugge down pit road. It'll all be down to potentially where he comes back out onto the racetrack compared to that 16 ride of Matthew Wood. And for Matthew, looks like he may come out of this with the race lead. We'll have to take a look at it as Matthew Wood down across the start-finish line. Xavier Ruggles-Brugge down pit road, just getting out of his pit stall here after getting fuel and tires. It'll be a race off of that pit lane, and right here's the gap. There's Xavier. He comes out in front of the 16, but Matthew Wood still right there behind him. So Matthew able to leapfrog enough time here that he's able to get that car repaired, and here he is right behind Xavier Ruggles-Brugge. So that gap has now disappeared. It's about 1.3 seconds between himself and Xavier. So for Matthew Wood, can he chase down this number 5 ride and potentially put himself back into victory lane? Can Xavier hold on to it and hold off that 5 ride and keep Matthew Wood back there at bay throughout the rest of this feature event? As Mikkelsen does consume the race lead, still has to make an additional pit stop here on the evening. So does Benjamin Romano. So Romano and Mikkelsen still have to make pit stops. Xavier, Matthew Wood have completed their pit stops. For Keegan Huey, he'll have to make his way down pit road here before the end of this race. Evan Stewart has already made a late race pit stop here. He should be good on fuel to get to the end. Same with the number 7 of Caden Gargiulo. As Gargiulo sits back in that 7th position, it's Ryan Haller who now sits in position number 8. Haller having himself a pretty solid run, a pretty solid day here at the Speedway as he rolls back there in position number 8. As Romano's going to run into more issues here. Around goes this 9 ride. So Romano trying to hunt down Wyatt Mikkelsen. Trying to close that gap, just gets into corner number 1 a little too far right here. Unfortunately, going to lose that rear end through the bumps and gets sideways, gets slow. Here comes Xavier Rongo-Brugge quickly to his back end. Xavier going to make quick work of that 9 ride. Here comes Matthew Wood into the frame as well, as Matthew not going to be able to get around the 9 as easily. And now it's going to be just about pace, about patience, and about being in the right place at the right time to take advantage of other people's mistakes or anything else to try to put yourself into the race lead here this evening. As Mikkelsen out in front has the race lead, still has to make that pit stop though. We'll have to wait and see when the 51 ride finally decides to make his way down pit side and make his final pit stop of the day. Zay in position number 2, Benjamin Romano there in 3rd, Matthew Wood right in position number 4. Between the 5 ride and the 16 ride should be the battle for the win here this evening. We'll have to see how that plays out as we're going to jump into a quick PeaceMaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers as we crank it up here on PeaceMaker Gaming. ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for all these drivers as they put on a beautiful spectacle for us there. The PeaceMaker Gaming crank it up session as Matthew Wood able to jump out in front, able to take that race lead away from Xavier Rungle-Brugge. Rungle-Brugge falls back into position number 2 here on the speedway, but things are going to get interesting here because Matthew Wood did have to come down pit road quite a bit earlier than Zay did right there. And now the big question may be, are these guys going to be too tight on fuel? What is the fuel going to look like here? Does Matthew Wood have enough in the tank to get to the end of this race without having to make an additional pit stop? And for Xavier Rungle-Brugge, we've seen and we've heard this number 5 ride kind of clutching the car, kind of getting into these corners a little bit earlier and using a whole lot more of the clutch than Matthew Wood. Watches the 5 ride, heads down into a braking zone here, quickly off the throttle, quite a bit sooner than Matthew Wood. So it seems like potentially for this 5 ride, he's trying to save enough fuel that he can get to the end of this race, that he does not have to make an additional pit stop here this evening. Now, he'd have to go probably about 17 laps compared to Matthew Wood, who's going to have to go 20 right there. You hear that car. Turn it off, put the clutch in, let it coast down into this chicane on the front straightaway and just take it easy. He's got it in 4th gear, getting back up to speed, so he's trying to use a lot less fuel than what Matthew Wood is trying to use. But the big question mark is not only is Matthew good on fuel, I don't know if he will be or not, but if the 16 ride can build up a big enough lead, if he can pull far enough away from Xavier, that he may open up the possibility that he can come down pit road, put fuel into his race car, and still have the race lead between himself and the 84 ride, as the gap right now is about 10 seconds here, almost 10 seconds between himself and Xavier Rungle-Brugge now. So unfortunately for the 5 ride, that is the bad part of trying to make it on fuel here, is that Matthew Wood could pull far enough forward that he doesn't have to save fuel at all. You see the 5 ride just very slow out of these corners, just trying to coast this car, and I'm not sure what may be going through the mind right now of this 5 ride as Xavier. This car has just been limping as he's been coming out of these corners and going so slow. He's just been giving up such a huge chunk of time to that 16 ride that I'm not sure if it is going to matter whether or not he coasts it or if he tries to save fuel. I think the game plan's got to be just to be hard on it. Now you see him not even getting into 5th gear there. Now he's headed down pit road. So, okay, this is very interesting. So it looked like potentially a pit road mistake here by Xavier Rungle-Brugge. He's taking this 5 ride back down pit side. And for our 2nd place driver, this is a big question mark here. So he's coming down pit road after clutching it, after just trying to get this car to make it on fuel. Now he is coming down pit side and making an additional green flag pit stop here. This could be a big mistake. So he does come down pit road. He puts fuel back into this 5 ride, so potentially not getting this car full of fuel on that first pit stop here in the second half of this race. He came down pit road around lap number 38, and it seemed like maybe just did not get enough fuel into this 5 ride, where he is now back a long ways away behind our race leader. Now, for Matthew Wood, he's got a big enough gap that he could probably come down pit road and make a pit stop and not even have to worry about giving up the race lead to Xavier, as he's got about a 33-second lead now between himself and Zay out there on the speedway. As Hardy Design says, he's 3 laps short. He's fuel saving. Well, unfortunately, that fuel saving did not go very far, and obviously giving up a lot of time before finally making that call to come down pit road. That could be the difference maker. That could be the problem here for Xavier this evening, trying to make it there, trying to stretch some fuel out. Obviously, this is a big enough track when it comes to the road course. You're going through gear so much and running up RPMs that you can't really save too much fuel here at this racetrack. So I do believe we will see Matthew Wood probably come back down pit road here, probably in the next lap or two. But for that number 16 ride, you know, He's got a big lead now. It's 32 seconds between himself and Xavier Rogolbrungi. You're better off just coming down pit road, putting fuel into the car, and keeping that race lead potentially as Wyatt Mickelson rolls in position number 3 for Benjamin Romano. He's back there in 4th. Evan Stewart rounds out our top 5 here in the 37 right now for Evan. He may be short on fuel here as well, if that is the case. If that is as far as Xavier could go, or Hardy Designs, do you have inside information? Was it just a mistake down pit road? Did they not get that car completely filled with fuel? Could that have been the issue there for that number 5 ride of Xavier Rogolbrungi here this evening? Instead of taking, 24 gallons of fuel, maybe he only took 16 gallons of fuel, and that's what made him, be in that 3 laps shy on fuel here this evening. And it could open up the possibility that Matthew Wood may not have to make an additional pit stop here this evening, as the 16 ride just completed lap number 50, and we have 5 laps left to go here. So 5 more laps to duke it out. Xavier trying to close that gap, trying to reel in Matthew Wood, or trying to make it so that if Matthew does have to come down pit road, that he can gain all that time that he gave up back, and trying to duke it out here with the 16 for the win this evening, as Wyatt Mickelson having himself just a good solid day, trying to stay inside the top 3 here this evening. Benjamin Romano, who's been fast all afternoon as well, has looked very, very strong, rolls there in position number 4, as we did see Bogart unfortunately down through the infield right there. He's been having a rough go on this day, as the Turning Point USA 17 gets rolling again down into corner number 1. He'll be slow for a little bit after getting a bit of a yellow flag there, so he'll get rolling here once again, as Matthew Wood, though, with the race lead, just looking strong here. Let's see if he's trying to save fuel or anything in this car. He's getting up through the gears rather quickly. Steamrolling into 4th gear. Looks like he's going to shift into 5th, so not a whole lot of savings right here for this 16 ride, even into this chicane. He's hard into it and doesn't really seem like he's clutching it or anything else. So now with only 4 laps left to go, is he good on fuel? Can he make it the rest of the way, or will we see this 16 ride have to make another pit stop here this evening? And will that be enough time if he comes down pit road for Xavier to get himself back into the battle as he rolls in position number 2? He's got about 32 seconds between himself and Matthew Wood. He's got 6 seconds between himself and our 3rd place driver, Wyatt Mickelson. Benjamin Romano there in position number 4 and looking for more. About 10 seconds behind them, we do see Evan Stewart. Stewart rolls there in position number 5. Keegan Huey back in 6th. There we see Caden Gargiulo in position number 7. Now Gargiulo is a lap down here, as right now there's only 6 cars on the lead lap here this evening. 6 cars still left on the lead lap out there on the speedway, and they're all being led by the 16 ride of Matthew Wood. So 16 cars started here this evening, 6 cars left on the lead lap in the 16 ride of Matthew Wood after winning stage 1, winning stage number 2, hoping to try to win this race here this evening, knowing that that would help extend his points lead even more here on the season, making it known that he's trying to win this championship. He wants to win the championship very, very badly here in this season. And with the races quickly coming to a close, we only got 4 races here after tonight. We've got Auto Club, Richmond, Las Vegas, and Phoenix to finish off this series. So there's only 4 races left here in this season, and for Matthew Wood, as of right now, coming into this race, had a 114-point lead between himself and Evan Stewart. Evan back in position number 5 right now, unfortunately finished 3rd in stage number 1, that Matthew Wood. I don't know where he finished in stage number 2, but I know it was outside the top 5, maybe even back in 7th or 8th for stage number 2 here this evening. So for Evan Stewart, he's already given up quite a bit of points to Matthew Wood. Plus, with Matthew potentially winning this race, it could very well be over 120, almost 130-point gap for the final 4 races that Matthew Wood has in his back pocket to try and win this championship here in our first season with the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. Their inaugural season, Matthew Wood hoping for the inaugural win here at the Charlotte Roval, as he is out in front, still about 32, almost 33 seconds between himself and the 5 ride of Xavier Rungo-Brugge. Wyatt Mickelson there in third. Benjamin Romano still trying to hunt him down back and forth. Keegan Huey now works his way up inside the top 5 as Evan Stewart slides back into the 6th position out there on the racetrack. So that's potentially an extra point going into the back pocket there for Matthew Wood as the 16 ride with only a couple laps left to go. Doesn't seem like he's slowing down one little bit, so potentially pit road mistake down pit side for Xavier Rungo-Brugge, trying to save as much fuel as possible, trying to make that pit stop that he had as short as possible, as I know he wanted to try to come out of the pits with the race lead there before Matthew Wood was able to get around him. Obviously, Matthew got this thing full of fuel. For Xavier, did not get enough gas into that ride, and that may be the difference maker here this evening as Matthew heads out of the inner circle. Here comes the 5 ride of Xavier Rungo-Brugge into the infield circuit part of the Charlotte Roval. So Matthew Wood virtually has that entire infield circuit kind of free and clear with no Xavier Rungo-Brugge in it when he's in it, as Matthew heads down the back straightaway. Nice and easy into the backstretch chicane here. It's his marks, gets a little bit too much of that one right there, gets a little bit of a bounce, but luckily enough, able to keep it pointed the right direction, keeps it rolling, powers back down into corner number 3, nice and easy out of corner number 4. We'll have to wait and see if this number 16 ride comes down pit road. Does not look like he will make a pit stop, so it seems like Matthew Wood is good to go on fuel here. He is sitting fine here this evening, as never underestimate, says Xavier, please, I bet 20 bucks on you. You lost that 20 bucks, Pookie. Yeah, unfortunately, that 20 bucks may go out the window. You can send it right now into the super chat. I'm just kidding. Is Matthew Wood out in front, 30-second lead between himself and Xavier Rungo-Brugge here this evening. Mickelson still trying to hold on to third with Benjamin Romano back and forth. Evan Stewart trying to get back into 5th here, working down to the inside here of Keegan Huey. Huey and Stewart door to door here, and it's not too far away from our race leader, but for Matthew Wood, he's able to get through the infield nice and easy, able to make his way through that battle, and nice and easy back into corner number 1 here on the oval circuit here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, as never underestimate, says, I'm eating ramen cups tonight, dog. Oh, the ramen cups. Beef or chicken? Yeah, that's the big question. I'm always beef, man. Beef ramen noodles all day, every day. I'm not huge on the chicken, that is for certain. Here we go for the 16 of Matthew Wood, down and out of the back straightaway chicane into the Charlotte Motor Speedway, corner number 3, and into corner number 4 here on the oval racetrack. You'll hit the front straightaway chicane for the final time here this evening, as down and across the line, it's Matthew Wood who will be able to pick up the win here at the Charlotte Roval in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League, as Matthew Wood gets it done again, picks up another big win, and extends his points lead here this evening, trying to make it easy sailing into a championship here on the year, as we wait for our second place driver, Xavier Rungo-Brugge, to finish off a solid run here this evening, coming home in position number 2. Down and across the line, he will make it official, as there is that 5 right across the line, coming home in that second spot here this evening. Wyatt Mickelson down into the front straightaway chicane, makes a nice, easy right-hand turn into a left-hand turn and back down across the line. It's Wyatt Mickelson who will come home in third. Benjamin Romano right there in position number 4. Battle back here for that 5th spot. Looks like Keegan Huey able to keep himself out in front of Evan Stewart. Stewart in tow, has one more chance at it, as here comes the 38 into the chicane. The 37 sends it in there. Unfortunately goes for a slide, as Keegan Huey will hang on for that 5th position here this evening. Evan Stewart back there in position number 6, as Caden Gargiulo, Zach Claytor will come home in 7th and 8th position on the speedway. Jaden Porter back in 9th, and Nick Jensen rounding out our top 10, as Matthew Wood picks up the win here this evening. Matthew gets it done here in this one, as Trey Terrell says, this is cool. I appreciate that, brother, as Hardy Design says, I'm down with the shrimp. The shrimp one, I'm out on that. I'm out of that, man. The only thing I eat that comes out of the water is tuna. That's about it. And it comes in a can. That's about the only fish I eat out of any type of water. That is for certain. As Bridget says, great race, Xavier. Anna says, yay, that's my boy. Yes, it is. Says he's able to pick up the win. His second place is still goated. Second place, still pretty good, man. Still pretty good, especially when you take a look at the car that's in front of him, man. It's the Dominator run for a reason, because Matthew Wood continues his dominance here in the series, picking up another win, trying to chase down the championship here this year, as we'll get ready to pull him and the rest of our top three up and into the broadcast booth here for their post-race interviews. So let's get Matthew up here into the booth right now.
Oh, no.
Hey Matthew, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. Taking a copy.
Hello.
Matthew, man, what a run, what a race. Take us back through this one, man. There's obviously a lot of excitement there. We see you, battling hard with Xavier throughout that first stage. You're able to get by him on the 10th lap there in win stage number 1. In stage 2, you're able to get a good pit stop in. You open up a huge lead. You cruise control home to stage win number 2 on the evening, sweeping those stages. And then to start the final stage, all of a sudden, for this 16 ride, you're going to try to figure something out, because you make a mistake down into corner number 1. What in the world am I watching out there on the racetrack? That's one way to celebrate. Just committed
Oh my goodness, somebody else is dying in front of me.
Oh no. Oh gosh, there's getting Huey going for a wild one as well. My gosh, you guys are having way too much fun out there on the racetrack. Matthew, man, take us back through it, as obviously we saw you there at the end of winning the first 2 stages. We get ready for this final stage. You make a mistake down in the corner number 1, you lose the rear end, you go around, you get some damage. Now you're trying to battle back. You work your way throughout the top 5, back into second. You're trying to chase down Xavier again. You get into the outside fence on the front straightaway here. The next lap around, you come down pit side. Obviously, look like you put enough fuel into this ride, and you're just able to start clicking down time between yourself and that number 5 ride. And finally, he has to come down pit road. Pitts beats you off pit road. I don't know if you knew or not, but he was short on fuel here. Unfortunately, trying to make that pit stop a little bit too quick, and it cost him potentially a good battle here for the race win tonight, as you're able to get back around him, start to pull away. And as you did, he starts to go into fuel savings mode, trying to get to the end of this race without having to come back down pit side. Unfortunately for himself, he did have to make that extra pit stop. Able to hang on to second though here in this one, but you're able to just keep that 30-second lead, cruise control out there on the speedway, and pull yourself up into another sweep here of the night. Another win, another good points day for you, and extending that points lead going into our 4th final race of the season next week, with a very commanding points gap between 1st and 2nd here for the championship, man. Take us back through it, and what's going to go through your mind right now?
I mean, definitely a very tough race. I don't know what was going on with me. I was making a lot of mistakes today, and the restart was a good example. But there at the first part of stage 1 there, before lap 10, of course we didn't have caution. I was trying to see if I could save it, and as we saw, saving was very, very hard tonight. So I didn't try it, and then I caught back up to him and had a good battle there for a little bit, and got back around him on the stage. And then I just kind of gassed her up till stage 2, and restart came along, and I didn't expect it. I came into turn 1, just lost the rear. It's kind of a staple of this next gen car for that kind of thing to happen, go into a 4-wheel slide into a turn. And I didn't brake late or nothing, just kind of looped. I didn't hit the curb, didn't do nothing, just kind of looped, I guess, cold tires. But I don't know, after that I was definitely gaining a lot of time. I was around, when I was pushing 7/10 quicker before the pit stop. And then of course I hit the wall there after the pit stop. But it's unfortunate he had to save fuel. I think he probably would have been about, I would say, I don't know, because if he would have put more fuel in it, he would have came right back to me. But if he puts the same amount of fuel in and makes it, I'd say he would have been 2 seconds in front of me. Then I would have caught up to him. Then we would have had a good battle. But either way, I think good points tonight. Just sucks for what happened to Evan. Car did not treat him good tonight at all, and I know that feeling, and of course his internet as well. But Yeah, we're not sure where Fisher is, or Aiden, or Grant, or I think Aiden's out with friends, but wish he would have been here. Has been here for a while, as well as Fisher. So hopefully they're doing all right. I'll check up on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Two tough competitors that we thought were going to be, competing for the championship here on the season, but they've missed so many races now. They're so far back. I think even mathematically, I don't think they can even catch you here if you didn't show up for the next 4 races here in this one. But as of right now, you're sitting pretty. You got a big points lead going into our final 4 races of the season, man. How you feeling knowing that all you really got to do is show up and you should be able to have enough points to be able to win this championship?
I mean, it makes it definitely comfortable for me. The big story has been I've never won a league championship. It's just never happened. I've dominated season after season, including you know since 2020 NASCAR Heat 4 or 5 days, and playoff system. Playoff system got me every time, and thankfully in this league we don't do the normal playoff system. We went back to the chase, so it's the last 10 races, as you know, and thankfully for me that it takes a lot of pressure off my back. Um, Kind of proving what I can really do, but I don't know, just thankful for everybody in this league. Thankful for what you do as well. Um, Thankful for everybody that's supports me, comes out and supports me every week. I know Landon's family's here, and everybody that else that comes along. Um, definitely, definitely makes it worth it being here and being treated like family. Thank the Lord for what He's done for me. If you don't know Him, you have to. Um, but yeah, just a fun race.
Absolutely. A lot of fun, a lot of good times out there on the Speedway, and you guys put on a great show for us here this evening. Matthew, is there anyone else you'd like to thank here tonight for such a great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack?
Not really. Just again, everybody that comes out and supports me every week, and I guess I had to make it exciting on a road course and wreck myself, but yeah, Xavier was absolutely incredible today, and so was Wyatt. Good for Wyatt for getting P3.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Matthew, heck of a run, heck of a drive. We look forward to seeing you back out there on the racetrack next Sunday.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Matthew Wood, as Matthew picks up the dub here this evening. We'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, Xavier Rugglebruggy, coming home here in position number 2. Hey, Xavier, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Xavier, man, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here in this one as you're able to pull that 5 ride up and into position number 2 here this evening. But that's, a solid run, a solid drive. But, man, you put the pressure on Matthew Wood here all evening long. Led a lot of laps. Looked like for a bit you were just going to run away with this one after a mistake there in that final stage by the 16 rider Matthew Wood. But he was able to use that pit strategy, able to get back in front of you. And then, obviously, you're trying to save fuel, trying to make it to the end without having to make another pit stop. Hard to make fuel here at a road course, and unfortunately weren't able to save enough. Had to make that additional pit stop here. Take us kind of through that and what's kind of going through your mind now as the smoke settles here at Charlotte.
Yeah, it sucks. We had to make that extra pit stop. Auto fuel screwed me over. Make sure I won't use the iRacing auto fuel anymore. I'll make sure I'll go to crew chief when I don't have someone to tell me how much fuel I need. But anyways, luckily we had a big enough lead because me and Matthew were just so fast, which was surprising. I thought it was going to be like a 3-way battle. I thought it was going to be like me, Evan, and Matthew, but it just turned to me and Matthew. But anyways, luckily we had such a big lead that I was just able to come in quickly, get a splash, and I was able to make it to the end of the race. So it sucks I couldn't be up there and battle with him for the win because I definitely had the pace to do it. And I was keeping ahead of him before I realized, oh, I'm not going to make it. So I need to start saving fuel. So could have had a shot to win this race, but could have, should have. No, doesn't really help me in this situation. So, still brought it home to a respectable P2 finish on my on a road course, which is surprising. I didn't know if I was going to do that well. I thought for me this race was just going to be about survival, but it was more of, oh shoot, I can actually go and win this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It gave you another shot, another opportunity to try to find victory lane. Unfortunately, you're coming up against one of the guys that's best in the business out there on the racetrack, Matthew Wood, and he's a tough cookie to crack. But I'm sure one of these nights we'll finally see a breakthrough and put yourself up here into victory lane. I don't know if it'll, take a major mistake out of the 16 run of Matthew Wood, which he very rarely does. But we have seen it time and time again, and potentially some point in time here in the near future, maybe a mistake out of that 16th ride opens up the door for you to finally steal one away from them.
Yeah, hopefully. One of these days, if not this season, definitely next season, I'm gonna get my first win in here.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel next season, if you're here, man, you're definitely going to be giving Matthew a run for his money each and every single week. And it'd be fun to see some of the other guys that were part of our playoffs that unfortunately haven't been here every week out there as well. As I know Jordan Fisher is usually really good on these road courses and, winning almost weekly as well there with him and Matthew duking it out. So it'd be a lot of fun to get some more of those guys back in here, back in on the racetrack and slicing and dicing it there with you guys. But Xavier, heck of a run, heck of a drive here again this evening, man. Who would you like to thank for a hell of a performance here this evening?
All right. Well, first off, would like to thank everyone in the pub for watching. Mario, thank you very much for pinging everyone about the race and doing a little watch party in the server. I know you guys are still watching. Appreciate y'all every day. Want to say thank you to my grandma for always being there and watching me. She comes to every single race. Absolutely love it. My aunt was in the chat. I don't know if you're still out there, but hi, auntie. Of course, want to say thanks to my teammates who weren't in this race, unfortunately, but a couple of them were watching. Jeff was watching. Hardy was watching. Good to see them show out too. And last but not least, I would like to give a big thanks to my cousin Eddie and her company Plush, who I run on my card now. Um, Want to just shout out her new album she just dropped a couple weeks ago. You can find it on Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever other streaming platform she put it on. Neptune. Look up Neptune on Spotify, SoundCloud, and if you can't find that, look up EDDY all caps with spaces on your preferred streaming platform, and you should be able to find it.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to go check that out, Xavier, as, man, hell of a run, hell of a drive here this evening, man, as, park that 5 right up here in the second spot. We can't wait to see you back out on the racetrack and looking to try to win next Sunday's feature event, brother. Enjoy the win, or the second place run, and hopefully we'll see you back up here for the win next week.
Yep, appreciate it.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher. The number 5 ride of Xavier Runkel Brunky as Runkel Brunky comes home in position number 2 here this evening. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for that number 5 machine. As we'll get ready now to pull in our third place driver, the 51 ride, Wyatt Mickelson. Mickelson comes home here in position number 3. Hey, Wyatt, it's Aaron up here in the PeaceMaker broadcasting booth. They had a copy?
Yeah, how you doing, Aaron?
Not too bad, Wyatt, man. Solid run, solid performance here out of the 51 machine here this evening. Obviously, not, super flashy speeds out of your car, but look like you're just trying to keep it on the racetrack, keeping it in between those navigational beakers and not making any mistakes, not putting yourself into a situation where you're going to make additional pit stops here and just staying focused here all night long and just hitting your marks, not burning yourself up, not making those huge mistakes, and you're able to come home with a very solid third place finish in our second highest playoff driver here in this feature event.
Yeah, it's been a while since I finally had a good run, especially on a road course. I was just trying to take care of my stuff and take advantage of other people's mistakes, and it played in my favor. There's a couple moments that I almost spun out, but I was able to save it, and it was a fun race. I just was trying to take my time and not make the mistakes, and it played into my favor. Definitely kind of try to save some fuel to kind of get an advantage, and that worked a little bit. And yeah, it was fun, a lot of fun, and great showing.
Absolutely. Well, that's the main thing out there, man. Is having some fun, enjoying your time out there on the simulator. When you can back it up with a solid third place run, it always makes it that much better as well. You're able to jump back up here into the broadcast booth, back up onto the podium here on the season, man. And with this run, obviously, in some pretty good points here, potentially enough to, leapfrog yourself, through maybe some of the top 5 up towards maybe top 3 run here in our championship order here on the year, man. Take us back through that. Well, how you feeling here? Obviously points-wise, everyone's chasing Matthew, but you're kind of chasing for that second place and obviously gaining some good points here on Evan Stewart tonight and leapfrogging a few of those other drivers.
Yeah. Been a pretty good playoff so far, about halfway in now. Last weekend was absolutely horrible for me. I didn't even finish the race. I think I was finished 50 laps down or something like that. So it was definitely a good rebound for tonight. And hopefully made up some good points, and just got to keep on performing good and get the stage points where I can, and get the good finishes so I can try to get as close to Matthew as I can. I'm not going to be able to beat him, but I'll be able to get as long as I can get as close as I could to him and just try to beat Evan. So yeah, it's been good playoffs so far, and really competitive, and just trying to make as many points as I can.
Absolutely. Well, some good points here tonight at the Charlotte Roval as well. You come home in position number 3. Who would you like to thank for a great run and great drive here this evening?
I'd like to thank you, of course, for putting on the broadcasting, and the guys for putting on the league, and yeah, thank you to my fiance for letting me sim race every night, or on the weekends at least, and yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Wyatt, great run, great drive, brother. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Sunday, and hopefully right back up here in the broadcast booth. Maybe one of these nights back up here on Victory Lane.
Hopefully, chasing that. I'll be in Vegas soon, so maybe I can repeat that.
Beauty. Well, we look forward to it, mister. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race. Our third place finisher here in tonight's race, that number 51. Ryan is unfortunately there for Wyatt Mickelson, not the win that he was looking for to gain those points, but a solid third place finish here this evening as Wyatt comes home in position number 3. That will do it for us here, though, on the afternoon. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in with the likes, the comments, the shares, man. We appreciate each and every single one of you. And if you haven't already, it's not too late to do that. Make sure you guys hit the like button for us. Hit that share button if you're feeling courteous, and definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button. Become part of the PeaceMaker family here today over on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, make sure you guys hit that follow button and become part of the family on those channels as well, as we're live every single night over on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube here, bringing you guys some of the best racing action. It's heck of a run, heck of a show here this evening, as Huey says, top 5, let's go. Heck of a run right there for Mr. Keegan Huey here this evening, man. Great drive for you out there on the speedway, mister. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unfortunately that will do it for us here this evening. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and show them the love. So thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, PeaceMaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags, wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. PeaceMaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags, wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah, yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, rocks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.